reason why you decided to find out what the hell it's all about at this time of night.
Yawn.
As you can see, I am reading from a script, so I apologize if I stutter, slur my words, or screw up a joke because I didn't practice this beforehand.
Nothing wrong with that.
And I know that a lot of you can get excited and want to throw out your own riffs and jokes, but just remember, I am recording this. So you can throw out your own commentary, but if you're not funny, then you're being not funny in front of thousands of people.
Me in a nutshell.
So, we're at Magfest again, and you know what that means? Video games! Yay! And for those of you in the audience old enough to remember, I want you to think back to an early time in video game history. Arcades were still prominent, Atari 2600 games were still viable, and a certain magazine was the best place to go for the most powerful video game insights. Yes, today's comic does have to do with Nintendo, and comes from that powerful magazine. Yes, that's right, this comic comes from Blip magazine.
Right.
Blip, before we associated that name as the video host of Atop the Fourth Wall, was a short-lived magazine put out by Marville and printed on comic book stock paper. It was only around in 1983 and lasted all of 7 issues. It was intended for little kids, which is funny considering so much of it is text and very light on pictures. That being said, it had itself a comic strip that we'll be talking about today. But first, the cover, which really sells us on wanting to read about video games. Why, there's TV star Matthew Leborteau. I'm sure everyone in this room are huge fans of Little House on the Prairie. And what a great photo of him, too. He looks so happy to be suddenly photographed while he's trying to concentrate on Galaga. So, here's our Nintendo connection. It's a Mario comic.
Who the hell is that?
A Donkey Kong comic, but hey, it's still Mario. We open with a reporter seeking out Mario at a construction site. This is your in-depth reporter, Vic Video here. You know it's the 80s because Vic is wearing that outfit and not being laughed at by the cameraman. Here with Mario the Carpenter.
What?
Well, now we know why he became a plumber. The Super Mario Bros. Super Show theme song would sound much weirder if they said hooked on the Carpenters. He says they're on the set of Donkey Kong and promptly shoves his microphone into Mario, making him spill his drink right into his face. Ah, Vic, Geraldo would be proud of your journalistic talent. How does it feel to be the world's leading tower climber and damsel rescuer? It's great, but the IRS are assholes about the tax rate in it. And being such a great reporter, he doesn't actually let Mario answer before he asks the next question. Or is there a different sort of man behind that powerful public facade? Which is the real Mario the Carpenter? I heard you like to dress up in raccoon and cat costumes. Will you confirm or deny these rumors? Before Mario can answer this time, they're interrupted by Donkey Kong showing up to kidnap another woman and climb up some steel girders. And hopefully in 25 years, we'll get some awesome father drawing a version of this story where it's Mario who's taken and she has to rescue him. The notorious Donkey Kong has struck again, carrying the fair damsel to the top of the construction site. We'll be back with Mario's daring rescue, right after this commercial break. Typical Blip, putting in mid-rolls, And what's the commercial for? Why, it's Mario smashing a barrel with a hammer. So Mario is sponsoring his own TV interview? You'd think Vic would be a lot nicer to him as a result. Don't smash barrels with just any hammer. Use new Tough as Nails brand hammers. How tough can they really be if they only last for like 10 seconds? We returned from the commercial to see Mario climbing up a ladder. With Vic and his camera crew, I guess just kind of floating in space next to him. I've seen the ape, Mario, but where's the donkey? What are you trying to hide here?
Monkeys aren't donkeys.
Ah, that's our Vic, always asking the tough questions that nobody else dares to ask. The name just means he isn't very bright. That's very racist of you, Mario. Donkey Kong is plenty intelligent. See, he wears a tie and everything. And despite being told of the danger, Vic is still following after Mario. So tell me, Mario, what's in this for you? Me? Is it the danger? The thrill of the hunt? The girl? A lawsuit, most likely. I read on Wikipedia that Donkey Kong is actually his pet gorilla that he mistreats. He's just trying to silence the thing before it lets everyone know what a horrible, abusive owner he is. Mario says he doesn't even know the girl, which doesn't break the canon that I read on Wikipedia, the most accurate information source, naturally, that she's his girlfriend. Something tells me he will be sleeping on the couch tonight. And just to help out with that aforementioned danger thing, Donkey Kong lets out 2 barrels at once that Vic manages to leap over with Mario, but the rest of the camera crew do not appear to be so lucky. Poor Richard Pryor there appears to have let go of the ladder and is now falling to his doom.
This is for Superman 3.
You want me to put the hammer down?
Only if you're Thor.
Or Mr. Psycho.
That's the joke. But Vic has no time for that, continuing his interview. Back to you, Mario. The girl means nothing to you? Then why do you risk your life and live for her? Why has Donkey Kong got her in the first place? You should have got to lots of dumb questions, you know. If this was a movie, Vic Video would be played by William Atherton. If you don't know that name by heart, which you should, just be reassured, my friends. It's true, that man has no dick. Donkey Kong is just standing there pissed off, though considering the direction he's looking, I'd say he's more offended by Vic's suit than he is by Mario's presence. The woman runs over to Mario, who, being stronger than he looks, thanks to all those mushrooms, sweeps her off her feet. Vic, ever the cockblock, tries to continue interviewing despite this development. If we could ask you some questions, miss? Here's a starting question. How do you walk in those heels? They're like completely vertical. Hell, it kind of looks like the backs of her feet are being pushed out by them.
Ugh.
Donkey Kong, who probably had a bad experience with the paparazzi, swings down and grabs Vic right out of there. A rare opportunity to speak to an enigmatic figure. Vic Video here with an exclusive. Donkey Kong himself. Vic, your cameraman's a pancake right now. You may want to wait until they send out a new one for you. But no, he just keeps asking on. Also, his microphone suddenly has a wire attached to it. Considering the wire is attached to nothing, I really doubt any of this is getting sent out. In fact, I'm beginning to suspect that Vic isn't even a real reporter. He's just a crazy person who stole the microphone away from the actual reporter and just wanted to get on TV. Mr. Donkey! Excuse me, Vic, that's Mr. Kong. Show a little respect here, man. There's some question about your intelligence. Do you feel that mistaking me for the damsel reinforces your reputation for stupidity? I don't know, you're insulting the 900-pound giant gorilla right to his face. I think you're building your reputation for stupidity. And indeed, Donkey Kong tumbled over the edge for this. And nothing of value was lost.
Yay!
Unfortunately, Mario decides to try to rescue Vic by leaping off the building after him. Mario, man, it's not worth it. The next reporter for the news show will probably make it a better show to sponsor anyway. But no, it seems Mario has activated a cheat code or something because he's able to catch Vic and run on air back to the construction beam. Mario, would you mind telling us how you did that? You just have to believe in yourself, that's all.
It's like Peter Pan.
So the key to anti-gravity is self-esteem?
Yes.
Just believe in yourself. Simple wisdom from an uncomplicated man. No wonder he is such a great American.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, that just happened. And in the background we see Kong taking the unnamed woman yet again. Dude is really keeping himself busy today. Time for some moving platform hopping while the interview continues at this construction site. Mario, where did you get your experience fighting apes at construction sites? Well, it was back in Japan. Ah, so Mario used to work on Super Sentai. That makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
Donkey Kong started there. Is that where you and he first met? Yes, it is. You know, back when I was called Jumpman. I changed my name when I immigrated. I didn't catch that. And did he climb up beams with damsels there, too? Yes, he did. It was during an experiment to breed a gorilla who could do construction work.
Oh, so that's...
Wait a second. Donkey Kong is actually some kind of genetically enhanced super gorilla? That is awesome! How the hell did we ever get that video game?
Mario's a breeder?
Mario?
He was breeding Donkey Kong? What?
Oh, he's breeding chimchars.
Well, now we know where timber came from.
I get it.
Shut up, Nate.
So where were they? People interrupt? No, we're done with it!
I think I broke him.
This was ruined.
Magfest is ruined.
Mario manages to reach the damsel yet again, but Donkey Kong yanks her away to swing even higher still. Why does he keep grabbing damsels then? Well, they remind him of the mother he never knew.
What was he breeding?
Okay. Now I see why that video game never gets made. Donkey Kong, you got issues, man. DK! Big? Yes. Baby? Maybe. Sunglasses turning into zigzags? Definitely. Time for another commercial break. Once again for the hammer. Is your hammer scoring points with you? The hammer does not mean his penis. Switch to Tough as Nails hammers. Tough as Nails beats the tar out of cement. Available wherever fine hammers are sold.
In cement.
Well, it was a mixture.
It's rocks.
Semantics!
Cement? It was a cement.
Get on with it.
Let's all with it!
Get on with it.
I'm not continuing. I kid because I love.
You have a heart?
A poison heart.
Yes, I keep it in a jar on my desk. Actually, that's not going to say no. This is gonna, I wonder if I'm going to have to highly edit this. And now Vic and Mario are on assembly line treadmills. The hell kind of construction site is this? Also, Donkey Kong can shoot fireballs. I know that happens in the game, but I'm not sure how he's doing this in the context of the comic. Maybe the genetic modifications gave him the ability to breathe fire? Oh yeah, the chimchar!
Inhales gasoline.
Lost my place again. Anyway, Vic asks Mario why he's telling him all this, and he explains that he feels sorry for Donkey Kong. Sorry for your worst enemy? Ooh, huge slam to Bowser. Although not a huge slam to Tanga, who, if you'll recall my video last week, still needs to prove that he's capable of even conquering a Hardee's. Why do you battle him then? Oh, nothing there.
Loading.
I thought I had it right there. I didn't.
Buffering.
God damn it, Blip.
Hold on, if Donkey Kong is the result of genetics, what does that make Bowser? Is he also a result of breeding and
Well,
genetics?
we don't necessarily mean he is. He's a dragon. The dragon just exists.
He was a scientist that was turned into a dragon.
He's Charmander. Getting a hold of a hammer, Mario is able to smash a fireball. I see myself as the only man with training to know how to handle the situation, Dick. Given the power of the hammer in Super Smash Brothers, I'm guessing there are a few others who can probably handle it too, dude. Is that your message? That you strive against all odds in a battle that never seems to end, simply because you must? Well, let's be fair here, Vic. There's an ending. Level 22 of Donkey Kong, the kill screen. Actually, the message I'd really like to get across is this. Scratch him behind the ears. That's all he really wants.
What?
I'm learning a lot about Donkey Kong today that I really didn't want to know. However, the message gets across.
Why didn't you say this the first time?
Derp.
However, the
I'm not sure
message
that's a
got
dick
across
face.
to the unnamed woman since she begins scratching behind Kong's ears and he is pacified as a result. Also, Mario has a sandwich in a lunchbox now, seemingly pulled out of his ass. I hear if you score 2 million points in Donkey Kong, you get the secret ending where he goes for a sandwich instead of Pauline.
So he's a heavy weapons guy now?
Nick is also looking really roughed up, despite him looking just fine a few pounds ago. What the hell happened when he first climbed up here? Did he try to scratch behind Kong's ear and Kong just pulled a Hulk and Loki on him? Beauty reporter. Nick's final question is asking how the hell they get down from there. Mario seems confused by the concept of down. I am confused by the concept of this construction site, seeing as it seems to be made of pink rectangles without any other distinguishing features to them.
Now he's the worst coffee.
And so our comic ends with Vic signing off while Donkey Kong and the unnamed lady take a nap in his arms. There are even hearts around Donkey Kong's head. You know, it's a strange marriage to me, but those kids managed to make it work. Of course, we all know how this story ends. Of course, we all know this story ends badly for them since Junior has to show up sometime to rescue his dad from Mario. Or are they
dad
both his dad?
Why are their feet above Donkey Kong? And in the third sprint,
Did he?
and in the third installment, he's got
Anyway,
to
this comic strip is okay, if a little short. It's a cute little story back in the days when video games were really damn simple. No 3D graphics, no bump maps, no rechargeable health, no first-person shooters. Just a dude with a mustache trying to save the lady he loves from a genetically engineered gorilla. That's all I got, so thank you, everybody! Now then, I have the episode for Monday.
Oh, it's the Marville episode.
I'm assuming you guys would like to watch it.
Yes.
We're going to be cutting it a little close because it's 34 minutes long.
Whoa, that's long.
But I think you'll find it's worth it.
It's Marville.
Because it's Marville.
Marville! It's never over.
theme song? Of course. I'm assuming everyone's going to want to sing.
Yes. Sing!
You guys were there. What?
I hear you back there. You're off key.
C major. Yeah, E minor. All right. Yeah.
Well, this will be interesting. Well, we'll try and see how things work.
Marville.
And no, at the beginning of this video is not a mistake.
I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was the drunken opening from the very first Marville review. I'm really sorry about that. I just got confused. Why? Because Marville number 6, the last issue of Marville, is a recap of the series.
Return to Sleepaway Camp.
Welcome to the top fourth wall. Comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you will learn. Brodsky, you're not the smartest. Marville, you're not an artist. Anyone who's had that comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara.
He's man, punch. Where's the birdie hat?
Didn't have a gun. Where it works is that Linkara. Coins, robots, and tons of trucks. Linkara. This comic sucks. Linkara.
You made a mistake. We're at Cool Mario's panel. It stinks. Caught in a landslide.
Like I said when this first began, every issue of Marville is worse than the one before it. And thus we have reached the final real issue, and it's bad. I'll explain what I mean by real issue later. But wait, don't turn off the video just yet, as if this is just a lazy bunch of panels and text copied and pasted from the previous 5 issues. Oh no, they actually bothered to draw new artwork for the recap and have a framing device for the recap.
What?
It's enough that we have to relive this insanity, but I can't even ignore it as if it was just an easy cash grab or something, because they actually had the indecency to put effort into it. Marville, so it's not very much effort, but still, a recap of the events of the previous Marville issues would be pretty pointless because that's exactly what we're about to see. But if you need a recap of something, here's the recap of Battle for Bloodhaven. The government controls the city. Tanks are running around Bloodhaven with no clear end goal because they're idiots. The secret society of supervillains sent 2 teams of nuclear-themed characters into Bloodhaven because they're idiots. Firebrand is an idiot. Let's dig into Marville number 6 and be thankful that this is the last we'll ever have to see of this. The cover would have been fine if this had been a Wolverine comic that was about Wolverine accidentally having a camera glued to his face. But it is not, and Wolverine is not a prominent character in this comic. So yes, the cover is awful. Not that it would have been much better if this had been a Wolverine comic. I'd make a joke about me shoving my face in front of the camera, but I've already done that before.
Please, do not run. Aren't my eyes?
There is an alternate cover with red-haired cover ladies running around and spider
boobs. Spider
boobs. Brand as anything else in the story, so I guess that means it matches perfectly. And hell, at least that can be considered an ultra.
What's wrong with one of her feet?
Material, unless you're just that turned on by Wolverine's poorly rendered claws. The angle of those things. It's hard enough to believe that he can fit claws in his arm. They're not even exiting out in a reasonable manner. Toy Wolverine claws attached to the back of a kid's hand are more accurate. We open with the image of asteroids falling towards Earth. This is a good story.
No!
It's Al talking to someone, specifically an editor. Yeah, Al is pitching Marville to a comic editor. Oh, how meta. What do you think of how meta that is? Unused take of Bayless from last week's episode?
What?
Destroy the planet. That is a good thing for some reason. I'm watching TV. Riveting. Teenager, right? Only teenagers watch TV. By the way, this is what I mean by effort. The image on the TV, it's the same one that was in the first issue of Marville. The artist actually gave enough of a damn to go back and make sure it was the same. How depressing is that? That Marville is the one that remembers stupid little continuity like that. Yet a team of writers and artists on Countdown can't keep things consistent from one issue to the next. He explains his parents sent him back in time to save his life, and the editor asks why they didn't go with him. I think they were trying to stay true to the Superman legend. One, the Superman legend did not involve time travel using PlayStation and Atari parts. Two, in the original issue, Ted Turner says that their tragic deaths will give him a heightened sense of responsibility. That's Spider-Man, not Superman. And he can't say that he didn't know their motivations because he was there when Ted Turner said it. The editor, however, decides to harp on the Superman thing. What is this, a Superman remake? It will never sell. You can't just go changing a legend. Superhero origins are sacred.
Damn you, Dan Didio!
That's the whole point of the story. Readers should love their heroes, but not get too hung up on the stories that writers make up about them. Wait, that's the point of Marville? Then why the hell did we spend 3 issues on incorrect science related to the origins of the universe and humanity? The hell does that have to do with superheroes? Also, bullcrap. Emotional investment is necessary for us to care about the outcome of a story. You can't have it both ways. It's either pretty artwork just for the sake of pretty artwork, or a story where the outcome is relevant to us. Or, at the very least, you can't have ongoing continuity. Actions either have consequences or they don't. Maybe this is just his way of trying to say our criticisms for Marville are irrelevant because we're not supposed to care about it. Which is the kind of stupid logic I expect at this point, frankly. The editor is already confused. I'm not tracking here. How do you separate the hero from his story? Ask the creators behind Amazon's Attack. They did a great job. Also, that sentence comes out of nowhere. He wasn't talking about the hero and their story. He was talking about reader investment. You'll see, if you'll just make a comic book about my story, see? Al, they did. And I still don't see. I'm going to have to stop critiquing every piece of dialogue in this because this is taking far too long. Much like how All-Star Batman and Robin takes too long. We cut to 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago from 3 hours ago? What time is it? And all were sillier than the last. But the editor objects to this, though for different reasons than I do. Listen, son, you can't go around saying that comic legends are silly. Comic books are serious business. Now let me tell you about Arm Fall Off Boy. The same old stories about them are getting, well, old. He's got a point there, but fortunately we've got some fresh concepts in superheroes, like Psycho Man. Or maybe this is just one of those mysterious things that just happens, like the first time I came. How tight it looks around his neck, it kind of seems like it's choking him. Which would probably explain why it seems like he's looking off in 2 different directions. Captain Tax Time. He's apparently the guy from the cover who thinks that stripes equals taxes. Al says that he wanted to be a hero, so he started fighting crime. The editor likes this since crime fighting sells. Just such a bizarre statement to make in relation to superhero comics. No kidding, crime-fighting sells when they're the dominant friggin' genre in comics and have been so for 70 years. You would think someone like Bill Jemis, who works behind the scenes of a comic company, would actually know how editors talk. That's what I thought, and I had my speeding bullet feeling. Speeding what? What the hell? Oh, I get it. That feeling you get when someone's going to shoot you. Yes. Here's where we start getting that Marville laziness to set in. Because now, most of the pages are either going to be splash pages or 2 panels per page. It's new artwork, but not particularly good artwork. Hell, look at poor Spider-Man there. Must have over-jammed his web cartridges that day, since they're as thick as power lines now. Then I realized that good and bad aren't black and white. What, not gonna bring up the time you met Alan Greenspan? Or Rush Limbaugh? Or Spike frickin' Lee as the Kingpin? Or do you just want us to forget all about your celebrity guest stars? Unfortunately, I can't forget. Spike Lee is the Kingpin.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Everybody knows that. The point is, good guys versus bad guys make for great comics. And even Bill Jemis realized that people get sick and tired of heroes fighting other heroes. But the main lesson I learned is that capturing criminals will not eliminate the cause of the crime. Everybody knows that. What, could you stop interrupting his pitch? The sooner he explains a stupid idea, the sooner you can tell him no, and we can end this. The point is that books about the social problems that cause crimes are for the reference section of your college library. Comics are about fighting bad guys, not about fighting unemployment. Wow, that's incredibly short-sighted and dickish, especially in light of all the highly successful comics of the last 30 years that had nothing to do with superheroes fighting crime. Asshole! Al is unperturbed by this and moves on to the events of issue 3. I wanted to learn the meaning of life, so I took the time machine all the way back to the beginning of time. I was ready to find God. Unfortunately, he brought us along for the ride. Did you find him in heaven? I just realized the editor is not questioning the fact that Al is telling this story as truth. The editor only cares about the comic aspect of it, not signaling for security to get this crazy person who claims he's from the future out of his office. Anyway, but it turns out he's down here with us on Earth, and he's not just with us, we are actually part of him. Can you see how blank my stare is? How annoyed my stare is? You know, like ants in an anthill. Together they have a collective intelligence that none of them understand. I'll just add this to the ever-growing list of things that Bill Jemis doesn't understand. The editor is equally dismissive. It's a miracle. I never thought I could care this little about a comic. Just the actual conversation Bill Jemis had with the other people at Marville when he proposed this thing. Then me and the girls meet this guy Jack and we go skinny dipping. Well, enough about sociology. Let's talk about naked people. Of course, this is the first time Al has brought up Mickey and Lucy, but hey, here's a repeat of them swimming around naked. Still don't get the point of them being naked. He talks about the single-celled beings that created life, thankfully not telling us this time about how cute they are, and then how Mickey and Lucy disagreed on what this said about God and the universe. Mickey the cab driver? No, Mickey the good Lord, the proportions on this artwork. Each one is bigger than her head. Her legs aren't any better, approaching 22 Brides level stilt legs. Say, that reference I just made to 22 Brides reminds me of my review of 22 Brides. This comic sucks.
Oh my God.
There was a namely that 22 Brides sucked. Also, her taxi is just short of a monster truck in terms of its size.
It's a monster SUV.
Also,
Texas.
Al has gone out of his way to point out that Mickey went to Rutgers University and Lucy to Princeton. think it's a vain effort to try to make it seem like the characters are so intelligent and we should totally believe what they're saying, ignoring the fact that they're not real people! Oh, but a quick look at Bill Gemis's Wikipedia page says that he's originally from Princeton, New Jersey, and he has a degree from Rutgers. So it could have just been a cute little pointless shout-out. Either way is dumb. But hey, let's forget about that and move on to more pseudoscience. The editor talked with Al briefly about how friggin' obvious all this stuff is, until Al points out that plant species had to eat their parents to survive. I never thought about this before, but now that I have, I still don't care. Exciting happen? Do I even need to be here? The editor seems to be doing just as well without me. What's the exciting thing? We battled the dinosaurs. If by battle you mean ran repeatedly away from, did you use superior human intelligence to defeat them? No, fortunately we had a single-celled organism in my jacket that evolved into a fish and then a talking Jewish duckbill named Snorts who was able to convince them that we weren't a threat. Why are you looking at me like that? They just decided not to kill us. See, they accepted us as family. Those critters will do anything for their own species, but everything else is just food.
What?
No, that's not what happened. Is Gemis forgetting what happened in his own damn story? Snorts convinced them they were friends. They didn't just decide not to kill them. It was stupid, yes, but if you're gonna recap this mess, do it accurately. Okay, kill a bee kill, eat a star. What are you trying to achieve? World peace. Didn't issue 5 end with the declaration that we just need to stop believing in things, have sex, and thus world peace? Really don't know what's going on anymore. Oh, and now it's time for new material that Al claims was talked about before, but it wasn't. Trust me, I've actually read the other issues. Jack wanted to show us how 500 million years of evolution taught animals to limit their compassion to their own species. That way, they do what they need to survive in blissful ignorance of the feelings of their victims. Blissful ignorance is bad? No, the world would grind to a halt without it. If carnivores saw herbivores as family, they would stop eating herbivores and starve to death.
Yeah, you don't love the sound of your very own voice anymore. You would probably just sit in a room all day and sing to yourself.
Just in case you haven't. Animals kill members of their own species all the damn time. This leads to Al saying that without this, the herbivores would multiply out of control, eat up all the plants, and the animals would die off, and there wouldn't be any carbon dioxide, and thus the end of the world. Of course, he's saying this while there's clearly still plant life present in the artwork, and this really has nothing to do with anything. Is that magma in the bottom of the panel or a pool of blood? So now it's time for the editor to get him back on track, asking what this has to do with world peace. I didn't get it either, until I met Wolverine. Wolverine moves merchandise, and yet it didn't save the sales of this series. Commercial breaks, life for slackers.
Oh, thank God.
And now we're back.
Already?
I love
that block.
First human. Still sticking with that story, eh? You know this is a work of fiction because the editor didn't toss his ass right out at that moment. He was raised by animals, by Neanderthals. And another one for the list, Bill Gemis does not know the difference between animals and Neanderthals. They talk about the crap from last time, about whether it was war between humans and Neanderthals that killed off the Neanderthals, or if human genetics was just a more dominant aspect, and oh dear Lord, this is still so asinine. Wolverine had hundreds of mates. All of the children were human, and all of their children were human. I guess that stands to reason, but it's not a popular theory among archaeologists. Because our basic inbred instincts are against seeing any of those Neanderthal
I have no idea what any of this means.
as part of the human family, and we can't get our arms around interspecies mating. Those stupid archaeologists actual scientific research, they know nothing. I, a comic book writer, know more than they do. The editor says he's heard enough. Will you publish my story? I like it personally. Why? for the comic. Hey, I forgot to tell you about the part where asteroids clobber the Earth's surface. Did you know that the dinosaurs died off? I sure didn't. Genocide. When you need more action for your comic book story, why not? It worked for Countdown. The editor asked if Jack knew that the asteroids were coming, and Al begins to wonder about that himself. Okay, here's a good one. Think about why God didn't wait until after the asteroid shower before he created life and started evolution. See, then dinos never would have been killed or massacred. Did Jack tell you that? Well, no, but then again, he was kind of preoccupied. Anytime he saw water, he immediately stripped down and went swimming. Al asked the editor if he's proposing that God is evil because he let the dinosaurs die off. No, just the opposite. See, in your story, you can show God planning the whole Jurassic Park so that mankind would someday find crude oil. Period! Jurassic period! Not Park! Jurassic Park was a movie! How is the editor getting this wrong? Why are they still having this conversation? Just end! Far more entertaining than anything these characters have said so far. The editor suggests that the deaths of the dinosaurs and their transformation over millions of years into crude oil were part of God's plan, since all of the products of that, like gasoline and rubber and plastics, make modern life possible for us. None of that ever came up in conversation. Of course it didn't. You were too busy talking about how body heat was connected to frickin' spines. It all fits. Everything. Yeah, much in the same way that if you take a hammer to two puzzle pieces from different sets, they'll eventually fit together. Those big BB-brained beasties couldn't have evolved into people, and yet they were perfectly capable of intelligent speech. As we saw! What is the point of this issue? Anyone who actually is still reading this would have read the previous issues and knows that it's blatantly contradicting itself. But the editor is just doing this so he can try to save the comic concept. I'm grasping for straws here, trying to find some kind of hook for your story. What about world peace? Story about world peace. I don't know. What do you think, Superman 4, The Quest for Peace review?
We don't take kindly to logic in these here parts, boy. Now get back to watching Clark Kent act like an idiot.
More from the last issue. Jack showed us how wars started. Early wars were not about killing, they were more like a sporting event.
Come on, we didn't like DC the first time.
Human guys from each side would fight. Sure, that's probably historically accurate.
Impression.
They had their beefs, but they understood they were all part of the same human family. Now, as far as we can tell, prehistoric civilizations engaged in murderous warfare too. It was quite common. There was no recognition of mutual family and crap. We didn't just conk each other on the heads and then sing Kumbaya for the rest of the night. It says on Bill Jevison's Wikipedia page that he has a bachelor's degree in history and a Juris Doctor from Harvard Law School. He minored in philosophy and economics. How could someone with those kind of credentials not know anything about those subjects? The editor says that ending war is as simple as understanding that we're all part of the same human family. Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Then what was the point of any of this? Early men really believed in community. They considered all of nature to be family. Sure, an ancient hunter who killed a deer would make a sacrifice to the god of the deer. It was all part of their mythology. To them, it wasn't mythology. It was a religion that showed their compassion for all living creatures. They showed their compassion for living creatures by killing a living creature.
Of course!
Those other Marvel comics that dealt with the nastier side of religion and politics, so what were they called? Oh yeah, the X-Men! But religion and politics are the whole point of the story. You said earlier the point was about teaching people that they shouldn't take comic books so damn seriously. You have some kind of condition where you can't focus on just one thing? He says that the chiefs and medicine men of early tribes helped to form them into working communities, but eventually their ideologies made neighboring tribes into enemies. It allowed them to think it was okay to kill them without compassion or think of other people as less than human. In other words, politics and religion should serve the people instead of telling people to hate. There's your grand conclusion to all of this. The no freaking duh philosophy that Bill Jemis has been trying to teach us. And so our comic, and Marville, ends with Al walking towards the exit. The editor rejects
Is that really
the
2
comic.
issues?
Son, we're up to me. I publish a book for you. But this thing will never sell. But we're talking about world peace. Sorry, kid. You sanctimonious sack of feces! You're trying to pin this on us? Marville failed sales-wise because we couldn't accept your grand vision of world peace? That we only wanted superheroes punching each other? Go to hell! Your comic didn't succeed because it started as a lame, unfunny parody of the comic book industry and then was an inaccurate, moronic tale about God and the universe. It failed because it sucked! And we're not even fully done yet, because now we have more of Bill Jemis whining about how it's our fault that his comic didn't do very well. An open letter from Bill Jemis to comic book creators. Marville does not have the stuff that makes for top-selling comics, but it does explore the origin and meaning of life.
No.
So I thought it was worth a 6-issue series.
No.
Technically, it was a 5-issue series, and then a 6th issue where you jerked around retelling those 5 issues. You could have just published this and saved us all a lot of time. And because I'm president of Marvel, I could ignore the bean counters and publish Marville without regard for minimum sales projections and margin requirements. Yeah, you acted like a real responsible president, what with you starting this comic on a bet with Peter David in the midst of trying to recover the company from its friggin' bankruptcy. Good use of company resources there, dude. And now that he's done pissing on his readers for not accepting his vision, now he's gonna piss on the competition. He talks about how there aren't a lot of openings for new talent at Marvel, and you could work for DC, oh I'm sorry, AOL Comics. Yeah, keep that topical, asshole. But they don't publish anything that actually says anything. Yeah, I mean, what comics have DC ever published that had deep meanings and said important things? Oh yeah, quite a few. You can try Image, but they have their own financial limitations. And they ask you to cover your own creative costs along with their printing costs. So this outlet is plugged into a life-savings vacuum cleaner. I admit I don't know how accurate that statement is, but Billy Boy, if you're trying to say something important, is money that big a deal? You can try one of these indie publishers, but they can't afford coloring or coated paper, so your graphic story won't look very good. Oh yeah, Marville has just looked like a frickin' Da Vinci painting, and the fact that it was in color really helped the quality. Where the hell is he going with this? Well, apparently, the experience with Marville has inspired him to create a new Marvel imprint, Epic Comics, a line for creator-owned stories to give a new platform for new talent. Actually, Epic had been a previous Marvel imprint in the 80s and 90s, but had died probably because of the speculator boom and Marvel's then-coming bankruptcy. And to be fair, after all my yelling, this was a good idea. One of the problems of the modern industry, especially in regards to Marvel and DC, is just how little new talent gets to come in on the writing side of things. They try to attract novel writers and movie writers who aren't actually big comic book fans when they should be trying to attract fresh talent like they've done before. So it's a great idea to create a line of comics devoted to getting people who could bring in innovative ideas and new concepts and imaginative. It lasted 1 year before it was canceled again. Yeah. Now here's where we come to the real finale of Marville. See, as I have been stating throughout the Marville reviews, the series is only 6 issues long, but technically 7. Now why is that? Well, because there was a 7th issue of Marville published.
Looks like Dixie Carter.
It's not really an issue of Marville. Marville number 7 is the submission guidelines for Epic Comics. So you have a new imprint that you want people to submit to, and instead of labeling it as submission guidelines, you make it the 7th issue of a comic that not a lot of people read. Really does fit in with the Marville brand of logic, doesn't it? That is why Marville number 7 is technically the best and worst issue of Marville. For the very same reason. Because it has absolutely nothing to do with Marville. The writer would have made it connect with Marville by having Al, Lucy, and Mickey describing these guidelines, but no, just lots of text and stock artwork. These guidelines are really kind of odd, too. They keep admitting that the books with the greatest sales potential are ones with Marvel staples like Spider-Man or the X-Men, but that they already make so many Spider-Man and X-Men books that it's hard to stand out from the crowd, and they really want the best possible stories out there to make things look different. It is rather amusing, though, that they admit that they don't really care about excelling the creator's profit, but their own, citing that creator-owned books don't really sell all that well. From Marvel's point of view, these books don't have much value because most of the long-term upside opportunity for ancillary revenue belongs to you, not us. Marvel Comics, we only care if we succeed. Still, they encourage the creation of brand new characters outside of the established superhero families, as well as encouraging a look at other genres besides superheroes. They bring up the comic Alias, which I haven't read myself, but have heard really good things about, and how it's a detective story that fits in with the Marvel Universe, but is really not about superheroes. Also, annoying things. Back in the early 1990s, Marvel writers forgot Peter was supposed to stand for teen boys everywhere and made him do things torn from the pages of their own lives. He aged, he got married, he got boring. Then all looked surprised when he stopped reading Spider-Man books. Because teenagers never age and never get married. However, teenagers do make deals with Satan. This whole thing has been about Marville. And my friends, Marville sucks. While I hesitate to call any comic the worst comic ever made, because there's always something out there that can reignite the rage, it's certainly up there. It is a vanity project that insults science, religion, comic creators, comic readers, and just general good taste. The writing is preachy and moronic. The artwork is inconsistent and poor, and often does not match what is actually happening. The characters are morons or mouthpieces, and often both. Its message is based on fabrications or delusions, and we will probably never see its like again. But we can say that in one regard, its message of world peace was somewhat accomplished. Because regardless of who you are, where you came from, or where you are going, we are all united together in common cause. Because nobody likes Marville.